on digital radio, on the app, on your smart speaker, on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch.tv, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Football in January.
The update presented by the Sportscast.
To the Sportscast, January 15th, 2024. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Apple Podcast. You can also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online radio. Visit our website, thesportscast.net. Also, follow us on X and Instagram at the Sportscast1, and check out our app, the Sportscast, in iOS. NFL Wildcard weekend is in motion. Still two more games, couple of surprises, most of them blowouts except one game. And join us all the way from Northeast Ohio, Dan Madden. Happy MLK Day.
Yeah, you as well. Wish we're both celebrating victories today. It was a rough weekend as a Dolphins and Browns fan, but hey, like that we always say in Cleveland, there's always next year. That's like our motto.
That's a common thing here in Miami as well. Obviously, both the Browns and Texans, the Cleveland Browns lost and Miami Dolphins lost, but overall the weekend was quite surprising. No, not surprising. The most surprising game was probably the Cowboys game, I thought. And then, of course, where like the Packers beat the Cowboys. And then we had one game as well was postponed till today, the Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. So that's going on, of course, tonight, Tampa and the Eagles. But overall, was the weekend surprising? Was it too many blowouts? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it was definitely surprising. First of all, I mean, what C.J. Stroud did as a rookie, I mean, coming into the first playoff game and doing what he did, I mean, that was somewhat surprising that, the Browns' number one defense wasn't able to slow him down. So, and then the Cowboys, I mean, for sure. I mean, Green Bay really turned it on the second half of the season. Jordan Love, I mean, his story, I mean, that, he got good as the season went on and first playoff experience and just destroyed Dallas, who had supposed a great defense, but they got exposed yesterday. We might be hearing about a new coach there in Dallas here in a couple of days. We'll see.
Yeah, that has been talks throughout the morning, through the sports shows, throughout the night. Obviously, the reason why, because Bill Belichick is available. So if he wasn't available, then I don't think there'll be much talk about it. Mike McCarthy, he's had winning regular seasons. I think 12 wins throughout these past 3 years. He's been in Dallas. But will this conversation be happening if Bill Belichick wasn't free agent?
I mean, I think there would at least be conversations, just the way they lost, losing to a 7th seed. I mean, this was supposed to be the year if you hear Jerry Jones after the game. I mean, he said this was the biggest disappointment in sports that he's owned the team. So I think there would have been conversations, but I think it's even more so elevated that they need to take a look at Belichick being who's available, and we'll see if there's mutual interest there. I just don't know how he's going to coincide with Jerry Jones. I mean, Jerry Jones basically runs the team, gives the interviews, and I don't know if Belichick is going to step aside for that,
Yeah, the relationship, the dynamic, Bill Belichick, which he seems like a very humble guy, but maybe not. Maybe, hey, I actually want to, be the GM, be everything, and that's going to be, it's going to, probably bump heads with Jerry Jones. So, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of days in Texas. But before we recap the NFL Wildcard weekend, we're going to play commercial, a word from our sponsors. Are you ready to accelerate your wealth and secure your family's legacy? Introducing VictorRocho.com, your cash acceleration insurance expert. At VictorRocho.com, we bring accountability to wealth creation inspired by Proverbs 13:22. Your family's financial future matters to us. Experience the power of debt-free life, our innovative insurance solution that not only protects but builds cash value over time. As your cash value grows, say goodbye to debt incrementally and watch your savings soar for a worry-free retirement, all without spending any extra money. With debt-free life, you're not just securing your future, you are creating a lasting legacy for your family, achieving financial freedom and retiring with tax-favored income. Visit VictorRocho.com for more information. That's VictorRocho.com, where accountability meets prosperity. Your greatest asset is you. There you go. Word from our sponsor, VictorRocho.com. Play a visit to him ASAP. Anyways, NFL Wildcard 2024. Dan, are you ready to recap this baby?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's go to the first game of the weekend. The Houston Texans defeated the Browns 45-14. The Texans scored 35 points, Dan, unanswered after trailing in the second quarter. C.J. Stroud, the Texans quarterback, threw for 274 yards, which is below from his average of 300, and 3 touchdowns in the game, becoming the youngest quarterback to win a playoff game. Steve Nelson and Christian Harris each had a pick 6 in the game. What happened, Dan?
Yeah, no, I mean, it started good for Cleveland. I mean, they drove the ball and looked good. I mean, good first quarter, and then the rails fell off. I mean, Flacco kind of went to his old ways. I mean, he's thrown some picks in the 4 games that he won, but the defense has bailed him out, and were able to get stops today. This game, they were not able to get any stops. I mean, C.J. Stroud just picked apart the secondary. I mean, their secondary looked lost out there. They weren't getting any pressure on them. And he and Collins and their other receivers, tight ends, were just connecting all day. And, you know, the picks definitely put them out of the game. And as a Browns fan, it was unfortunate. You know, at least they wish they would have made a little more of a game out of it, but really wasn't close there in the second half. And Houston ended up resting their starters there at the end of the game. So I think Houston, I mean, could be a dark horse in this playoff. Don't take them lightly. And I put on my social media, Houston actually got good because of the Browns picks that they gave up for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, they pick up C.J. Stroud from that draft. Also, some other
defensive, their defensive rookie who's just been playing great. I forget his name. They got him as well. So,
yeah, quite something. The whole dynamic of this game as well. A lot of storylines that I did not expect until the game was played, and also the outcome. But this is something that I told you. And I picked it up from the NBC commentator, Dan, that the Browns have turned the ball over a lot this year and have been getting away from it with it. It was bound to catch up with them, right?
Yeah, I think so. You know, they needed to limit the turnovers in the playoffs because they're going to be playing better teams and higher stakes, and just wasn't able to do that.
Kareem Hunt squeezed in a touchdown.
He did, yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. You know, he said he'd like to come back to Cleveland, but with Chubb coming back and they got Ford, I mean, there's going to be enough room for him. So this will be an interesting offseason. Not sure what's going to happen to Flacco, if they're going to bring him back or, you know, he's done. So it'll be interesting. I kind of joke with people that the happiest person in the room that Flacco had a bad game was Deshaun Watson, because maybe he definitely has his job back and there's not going to be any controversy. So
he was there, but we'll talk about a little bit later in the show what is up for the Browns for the offseason, what they're going to do. Deshaun or Joe Flacco, keep him on the board. We'll see, but we'll hold on tight. Let's go to the next game. Patrick Mahomes threw for 262 yards, found Rasheed Rice 8 times for 130 yards and a touchdown, and made several daring runs for key first downs. Isaiah Pacheco pounded over the frozen turf for 89 yards and another score, and the Chiefs shut down a prolific Miami offense in a 26-7 victory in the wild card round. Your thoughts over this game?
Yeah, no, it was freezing cold there. I mean, Patrick Mahomes' helmet was frozen, cracked. So, I mean, that kind of just telling he couldn't get his new one on because it was frozen and wouldn't go over his head. So they had to thaw it out a little bit. But yeah, no, this team, I mean, they seem to rise to the occasion in the playoff. I mean, people call them playoff Pat, and they were able to get Rasheed Rice the ball, and he seems to be their go-to guy right now on the pass game, as well as Kelsey. They got the run game going. So I think they might be clicking at the right time. I mean, the Dolphins just weren't able to get the offense going, and just unable to get enough points on the board. People struggled a little bit as well. So it'll be interesting to see the he can continue to play like this and make a run to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, to Miami, they were injury depleted towards the end of the season. Of course, now in the playoffs, it was not the same dynamic offense. A lot of throwing to Hill. Tua was pressured relentlessly by the NFL's second-ranked defense. Dan Tyreek Hill had a 53-yard touchdown, but that was it. But was otherwise shut down in the return to Kansas City, and the Dolphins finished with 264 yards in all. Miami they did play against Kansas City back in Germany in November, and they lost by a touchdown. They were just 1 for 12 in third down, which could be a problem, but they never put together a truly sustained drive until fourth quarter, and of course the weather was minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit with wind at 27 miles per hour, but it was really cold. Everything affected like the temperature of the game, but it was all Kansas City, and whenever like people were talking, you could see the smoke coming out of their mouth. It was really incredible.
Yeah, and I think the Peacock was a success. I saw that like 156 million people, downloaded it to watch, and I'm sure like 50 million ended up canceling it, like me yesterday. So, but they still made their $6. But
Which I have Peacock already for the Premier League, so it was nothing to turn on, but it was quite something that the NFL allowed that just internet Peacock only. The numbers look good, so I won't be surprised other platforms might do it. Maybe Amazon. Hey, can we have a hand in that? Can we have a playoff game only on Amazon Prime? That'd be a huge issue right there. But we'll see what happens. What the NFL says, of course. Roger Goodell is not straight away from that. Let's go to the next day, 4:30 game. This game surprised everyone. Aaron Jones ran for 3 touchdowns. Jordan Love threw for 3 more in his postseason debut. Darnell Savage returned an interception, 64 yards for a score, and the Packers handled the Cowboys, their first home loss since 2022 opener, in a 48-32 wildcard stunner. Dan, this game was surprising from the start. Green Bay intercepted Dak. They were scoring against the Cowboys. It was a huge surprise. This was like a preseason game. It kind of looked like.
It was, and the thing about it is, I mean, if you didn't watch the game and you just saw the score, it was like, oh, it was a pretty close game. It just kind of got a little closer at the end. But this was an all-out rout. I mean, Green Bay was doing whatever they want. I mean, wide open receivers coming down the field. Jordan Love is just looking amazing. I mean, what he's done in the second half of the year. I mean, we were questioning him on the show. Is he the guy? Is he a franchise quarterback? And I think he has proven himself to be the guy and a franchise quarterback. And and he just picked apart the defense. I mean, Dak couldn't get anything going on offense. I mean, this Cowboys team just seems to choke. I mean, it's like a constant cycle. Like, you know, they don't do well, and then they do well, and then maybe this is the year for the Super Bowl, and it constantly, like, every year you have these conversations, and they're like Jekyll and Hyde. You just never know what you're going to get with Dak in big moments in December and January. And, you know, after the game, Dak says, you know, I sucked tonight. Well, yeah, you did, you know. So, I mean, I just don't know if you can pay him to be the highest paid quarterback ever at this point. I mean, what has he done for you lately in big games? There's a lot of conversations to have that in the next year.
Yeah, and Prescott is he's up for contract in the offseason. He'll get if he does get renewed with the Cowboys, he'll be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. But he threw for 2 interceptions before 3 mostly empty touchdown passes and another playoff flop for him. Number 2 to see Cowboys 12-6. So they they kind of kept it close towards the end, but it was just not enough for the Cowboys to overcome. Of course, a lot of question marks with the head coach situation with Mike McCarthy. But Prescott finished 41 of 60 for 403 yards with all 3 of his touchdowns to tight end Jake Ferguson. But quite interesting game, a huge fluke. Packers were over prepared, I think, and Cowboys were too confident coming in with the NFC East. Hey, we got 2 home games in the playoffs. We can beat the Packers, but that was not the case. Let's go Sunday Night Football. It was very cold everywhere in Kansas City, and of course today in Buffalo. Detroit is in the north, but they do have an indoor stadium, and it did kind of help him out a little bit. But Jared Goff threw for a touchdown and a complete pass for a victory sailing first down against the team that cast them away. And the Detroit Lions won a playoff game for the first time in 32 years, beating Matt Stafford and the Rams 24-23 on Sunday night. It was a huge win, Detroit. The fans were electrified. And I told you, Dan, before the game started, man, I don't remember the last time I saw a game in Detroit, a playoff game in Detroit.
No, it was great to see for the city of Detroit. I mean, I empathize with them. You know, it's kind of, you know, standing thing that, you know, you have Cleveland and Detroit, you know, the struggle franchises trying to get to this place, get to the Super Bowl. And I'm happy Detroit is got a win there. And you could see the excitement in the fans. I mean, they had to make an announcement to kick them out of the stands because they had to clean up. I mean, people just wanted to live at the moment. But, you know, great game, back and forth game. You know, that Puka Nacua is unbelievable for a rookie receiver. I mean, he's going to be MVP caliber in the future, one of the best receivers in the league. I mean, they're giving him another year in the system. I mean, the routes he was running and just going up for the ball, taking hits, you know, they came up short. I mean, Detroit played well. Little questionable PI call at the end. I sent you that video. I mean, a picture. I mean, they're like bear hugging the guy, and they didn't call it, and they would have put the Rams in field goal range, and they could have went and took the lead. And who knows what would have happened there? But you know, hats off to the Detroit for getting the win.
Yeah, huge win, but Detroit, they probably will face the winner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Philadelphia Eagles game. But yeah, this was the picture that you sent me last night. It was pretty much the guy was bear hugging. That is a pass interference. Yeah. But refs, you know, usually don't catch these things, especially Detroit, which they have some. I just
really hope that this year the NFL would discuss having a challenge or review of one on a PI, because there's too many of these games all year long that have been decided on a PI or non-call PI, and I just hope that they would evaluate that you can throw a challenge or have a review on a pass interference in critical plays like that.
Great critical plays. There was also a critical play a couple of weeks ago when Detroit played the Cowboys, and Detroit did not get that touchdown because they did not tell clearly to the refs that one of the offensive linemen was a receiver. So quite interesting situation there. But great win by Detroit. David Montgomery, got to give him credit there. Had a couple. I think he had one touchdown, but he had a whole lot of rushing yards itself. So the first playoff win for Detroit in 32 years. Matt Stafford, great run with the Rams. Of course, still going to play there. But as Dan was saying, Puka Nacua had a fantastic. Tutu did well. Cup as well. Rams were my dark horse, Dan, but did not come through. But who's your dark horse now? Is it the Lions?
I would say Lions in Houston. I mean, what Houston did to the Browns. I mean, if they can continue, I mean, if Stroud continues playing like that, I really think that they can make a run. I mean, it's hard to think about with a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback, but they could be. And who knows? Maybe Green Bay. I mean, the way Love's playing, I mean, they could be too. I mean, I would say that those would be the top three.
Which they'll play San Francisco this upcoming weekend. Well, there you have it. 4 games this past weekend for the Super Wildcard NFL weekend. But we have 2 more going on today. There was a postponement from yesterday. The Steelers at the Bills. Pittsburgh at Buffalo Bills. I was seeing some pictures this morning. It was pretty snowy. It was deep. There were shovelers shoveling the snow out of the stadium in Buffalo, New York. Dan, who do you have today? Pittsburgh at Buffalo. It could be a surprise, but Buffalo might have that weather advantage.
Yeah, I think they do have the weather advantage, but I think the weather could help Pittsburgh out a little bit. I mean, I think it's going to be cold. Probably a little snow. And it might affect Allen. I mean, he's used to playing it, but throwing the ball a little bit more. Pittsburgh is a little bit of a run team, ground and pound. So I mean, it could help them a little bit. I mean, it might be a little closer than expected because of the weather, but I still like Buffalo at home in this one.
I got Buffalo as well, and if they win, I believe they will play. I know that Houston's probably going to Baltimore, I think, and then the wow, Chiefs and Bills. I just realized that, so that would be a good game for this upcoming weekend. And finally, Monday Night Football, Philadelphia Eagles visit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dan, who you have for that matchup? It's going to be tricky. It's warm weather. It's probably like the best weather this weekend besides playing indoor. But who do you have tonight? Eagles at Bucks.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is going to win this one. I think it'll be a close game. I like the way Baker Mayfield's been playing. Hopefully he's able to rest up a little bit. I haven't heard on his status as far as his injury, but I know he'll be playing, but he'll probably play through a little pain. Philadelphia just hasn't been the same team that they were last year on the run. Just they haven't been able to get anything together offensively. Defensively, they've been struggling. So I think Baker gets the job done.
I do think so as well. I think a lot of people in the sportscast are picking. They are picking Tampa Bay as well. So this is not a surprise for a lot of people, but we'll see. There's been surprises this weekend. We didn't see Green Bay beating Cowboys. Maybe Philadelphia will turn the switch on, but when you're having a losing December, it's hard to switch it over. Also, key point that I was reading on Twitter that Green Bay did well with health. Like, for example, Aaron Jones missed 6 games. Said, look, if you're not 100%, we're going to sit you out for a bit. And that freshened him up towards the playoffs this past weekend.
Yeah, definitely, good thing. And, back to the Browns, I real quick on resting the players. I mean, I really wasn't for it last week. I mean, I get you trying to rest players so injuries, but I just feel like that they were playing a little sluggish, defensively and everything. And I just think that the rest kind of backfired on them because I just don't think they had the same mojo that they were playing with before they rested the whole starters. So that's a little thing on that. I get it, but sometimes it can backfire on you resting players before you go in. So.
Yeah, that's going to be a question mark this weekend
Yeah.
when the Ravens and Niners come back.
Hmm.
We'll see if Russ kicks
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
We don't know. Sometimes it could work against you. Sometimes, hey, I needed that rest, and you look fresher. You look, you're running quicker, or you're throwing better. So we'll see what happens. A lot of question marks there. It's hard. It's hard to make these decisions and whatnot. But let's segue to the Browns. You brought it up again.
Mhm.
What's going to happen off season? Joe Flacco had a good end of the season. You got Deshaun Watson, who probably 100% by the time the start of the season will happen. But do you think Flacco might stick around, or do you think,
I
hey
think,
man,
yeah, I
Deshaun,
think yeah,
huge contract,
yeah.
we got to keep him.
No, I mean, I think you'd be foolish to get rid of him. I mean, yeah, even if Watson comes back, I mean, how Rusty's going to be. I mean, he could probably get hurt again. I mean, he's injury prone, so if he goes down again, at least you have someone like Flacco that can come. I mean, he's going to be injured again. I mean, he's going to miss a couple games. Let's just put that out there, and to know that you have that insurance policy on board. I think you need to keep him in the room for another year just to see how this plays out. And maybe mentor wouldn't be bad to have Watson, learn from a guy like Flacco, let him humble himself. What could I learn to get better? It might be good to have him in the QB room to get Watson better.
Or could other teams draw interest toward Joe Flacco? Hey, you'll be good starting or
Yeah,
bridge quarterback for our team. We need you. Can that happen?
possibly, but seeing how he played, the other night, and those two picks, it might get second thoughts, but it is possible that somebody want him as a backup, but I'm assuming he would want to have a go at playing,
Yeah.
getting away from his family and everything to be a backup at this stage in his career. I don't know.
One guy that's pretty safe is Ron Stefanski, having two
Yeah,
successful seasons. He bought himself another
he did.
pipeline.
Yeah, I was real critical on him, last couple of years, but what he did with this team, rallying everyone together with so many injuries. I mean, they had so many guys out this year, and they really, as a Browns fan, probably didn't even expect to be in the playoffs. I mean, you lose Chubb, you lose all these players, linemen. I mean, we're playing with D linemen. You lose Sean Watson. I mean, you shouldn't even have been in this situation. So for the fact that he got the pieces in place to make this run and to get in the playoffs is pretty remarkable. So hopefully next year everyone's back healthy and we'll be better next year.
Yeah, maybe go with the Packers strategy with keeping these players healthy, not play every game.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you're 40%, 60%, maybe you should rest a little bit. Put our backup in and maybe get yourself a little bit more fresher towards the end of the season. Well, there you have it. Dan, before we go, what is the best way to reach you online to talk to you about the Browns off-season implications?
Yeah, X at Danimal2478 or Facebook under Dan Madden.
There you have it. And you can reach us at thesportscast.net, our website, or you could go on X and IG, and it'll be the Sportscast 1. The Sportscast 1 will be live tweeting throughout the weekend, throughout today, and next weekend. Looking forward to it. And check out our shows. We got this Wednesday, the top 25 rundown with Alan West. He'll be talking about the transfer portal, players that have declared to the NFL. Michigan's quarterback just declared this past weekend. So a lot of teams are looking out on that guy. He's pretty good. And of course, on Thursday, Victor just called me about an hour ago. He's looking forward to talking about what happened with the Cowboys. He's a huge New York Giants fan, so he's pretty happy to see the Cowboys lose. And of course, he'll talk about what happens tonight, Philadelphia and Tampa, because Eagles are the only NFC East team left in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Check out our shows at thesportscast.net, Jersey Boys on Thursday night, 8 p.m., and the top 25 at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Well, there you have it. More action later today. Dan, are you going to leave work early to watch the Steelers and Bills game?
Oh yeah. It's what's nice about being your own boss. You can kind of just come and go as you please. So I don't have to get approval for that one. Yeah, I'll be watching.
I don't know. Do you think it's gonna be a very snowy ground, or you think it's gonna be like under control?
It's hard to. I would imagine if it continues to snow, there's really nothing you can do with it. I haven't checked the game day forecast.
Yeah.
It's going to continue to snow, but you know, they were paying everybody $20 an hour to get out there and plow the stands. So
it's incredible. It's incredible weather in January. That's what's called January football. Anyways, there you have it. More football today on Monday, doubleheader. Dan, thanks for coming on to the Sportscast.
Yeah, sure thing. Have a good week.
And this was your update.